Welcome to Sith Talk, brought to you by Galactic and Lanyard, bringing you news from Star Wars The Old Republic and beyond. Join us now as we explore the universe and take down the Republic in a galaxy not so far away. Hey everybody, welcome to another interesting episode of Sith Talk. Woo-ha! So we got some technical glitches this week, so Lanyard's trying to work those out. Apparently XSplit's retarded and doesn't want him to have the full version that I tried to share with him. So, keep those donations rolling in. We had an interesting week this week. Everybody is clamoring and bitching and moaning and wanting more and more and more to get us going on the 1.5 patch. I consistently argue, let's wait, let's get the bugs worked out of this as best we can, and then have the full patch released. But hell, consumer rules. We saw online that recently Joveth said that we're not going to have the downtime that we normally have today for our patch, so we have no patch notes today. Joveth did say maybe Thursday we would get our 1.5 patch, maybe not. I still contend we should wait till right before Thanksgiving when everybody's getting all fat and happy and slightly tired. Drop the patch on us on Thanksgiving and make us totally ignore our family. My dad's not holding our Thanksgiving feast till that Saturday, so it will work out perfectly for me. However, I do have the Black Friday sale to deal with me being in retail, which means Lanyard's going to have to do his best to dodge all the mass consumers out there rushing into the stores at all hours trying to take advantage of new and exciting sales.
I have a big truck. Don't need to dodge anything.
Bulldoze them all. Sounds like a good plan. So we do have some good things this week. I got through yet another great book at Audible. I told you guys I pick up books there whenever I can. I'm big into zombie books, trying to find more Star Wars books, but I burnt through most of the ones that have to do directly with what we're in right now. But I picked up Day by Day Armageddon.
I was told to buy that one or listen to that one.
Yeah, it's a very good audiobook. And I got it for like $7 on one of the most recent sales.
Cool.
Wish I would have picked up the second book because the first book at 5.5 hours was kind of on the short side. But it's really enjoyable because it approaches it kind of like, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie, but Diary of the Dead, where they're actually following a video diary, or you're watching basically a video diary of things that has to happen.
Diary of the Dead. Diary of the Dead. I heard diarrhea dead. I don't know.
Oh, I hear you get diarrhea when you go dead, but whatever. But it's
153.
It's a point by point. It picks up piece by piece. It's a day by day journal of the lead character, and it follows them through their journey and how they survive. So it's really cool in that respect. Some people say it's not wide enough. I think it's very intimate. It's very enjoyable. It gives you more of a feeling of being there than if you were to say, oh, well, there's zombies all over hell and back. And, it's just one guy's big impression. It's his concerns. It's his life. And it makes you feel like you're there a little bit more. Very much how I got into the last zombie book I read. But nonetheless, great book. And if you guys want to check some of these out, maybe use that first token, audibletrial.com/Sith Talk. Get 1 month, one book. And, if you decide to sign up for the $15 or even $25 a month series, of course, you chip in to a little bit of our funds. And as we can tell, we got to get Lanyard a proper copy of XSplit, maybe some new video editing software, so that would be a great help to us. Of course, checking out any of our sponsors that are listed on the Podomatic page would be helpful, of course. Or if you decide to, there is a donut button.
There's a donut button. Donut.
There's a donate button on our page if you'd like to chip in a few shekels. We actually did have a donation come in from one of our listeners, and that actually helped us keep our Ventrilo server on this month. So we want to thank you guys for that. If I could remember off the top of my head who that was, that would be even better. But I'm a retard, so that shit doesn't always click in my head.
Throwing our sponsor up here. I forgot to add that to my new setup.
Oh, that's fine. Let me see if I can figure that out. But we did have some other news, of course. We got a State of the Game address from the good folks at SWTOR, as well as some interesting news from Daryl Eckerson, one of the former game developer peoples, which is kind of cool. Well, interesting, I'll say. Tyrone Kelly was our grateful donator, so I will say thank you, Tyrone, for chipping in a few shekels for us. It's always greatly appreciated. But we did, Lanyard, not so much a great week. He's had a rough week this week, so he hasn't had a lot of game time. But we'll get to that in a minute. As everybody is excited for 1.5, I did see something, and I'm going to pull this away from the news because it's not really news. It's interesting, but I don't consider it news. They've actually been working on, and we talked about this last week. So apparently, I need to be the one that bitches about in-game calendar. So I'll do that tangent. They're now doing. They hired some voice actors to start doing the voiceovers for actions and emotes that previously had no voice direction, which was interesting. I actually went on to the PTS to check this out. Seen it on SWTOR Strategies, wanted to check it out, and found out that there are some that now have voiceovers that didn't previously. One of them, which was blow a kiss. My Sork said. Oh, there, are you happy now? And it actually said in the emote that it said, you blow so-and-so a kiss, actor voiceover tentative. And I thought it was funny because she voiced it. But
we might change your voice later on.
Yeah. Yeah. There, are you happy now? Nothing like
maybe we should send in some reels.
Yeah. We've got plenty of burp and fart tracks.
Baby.
Oh, doesn't that make you feel dark side?
Do you make Randy, baby? My terrible impression.
But we got some great responses. A lot of people asking on YouTube how, whether or not they can where we are when we can be approached on the Potted server to join the guild or to run with us. And I sent out a few messages there.
Get it.
Well, I jump on almost every day on Rakat to get some of my dailies done, and I do the same for Nolani. I'm on a lot because of Safara. I'm trying to help him get his shadow to 50. So we're doing a lot of PvP on the Republic side, but I still do my dailies on my Imperial side because I'm just, stacking cash in the hopes of buying more interesting things through Legacy that maybe I won't want to afford with the cartel coins. Yeah. And of course, I've got a few other games that I've been playing. I really wish Kevin would set us up on that secondary podcast so we can throw more money out the window and tell people about the other games we play. But maybe I'll just have to do that on my own.
We'll just do that on our own.
No shit.
We've got enough. We know enough people through either this podcast or years of gaming that we could always throw an unannounced guest in.
Indeed.
Anyway,
but
back to SWTOR.
So we do have a bit of news and a lot of reading. Unfortunately, this week we don't have Pseudo. Pseudo is taking a week off, and as you guys know, Bru'tis is dealing with some issues. So we hope that Bru'tis, it has everything happen smoothly for him, and that he enjoys his holiday. But that's about it. Well, he's in college, so I'm guessing there's a bit of midterms leading up to the holiday season. Don't really know. Only did a portion of college anyway. But we'll see how. Hopefully everything works out for him, and I hope it does. Hope to see Bru'tis back both in Vent and in the show before the holiday season is over. If luck prevails, or if fate prevails. If not, hopefully somebody else will drop us off a segment.
Sure. That'd be great.
You guys can always, send us a clip via our sithtalk@gmail site. We also have other connections through Dropbox that you are welcome to, send us a message through Sith Talk about sharing a Dropbox. Me and Lanyard both carry Dropbox on our computer, so we're always happy to check out what you've got to offer. And if it's of quality,
I still need video. If you don't want to give us some type of a lore or your fix on PvP video, I need game video for the background. When my Overwolf's not working, or I'll get into something and completely forget, and so I really need some video for the background.
But submissions of any kind will be happily looked over and taken advantage of when we can. And of course, make sure we throw out your particular guild or your name or whatever you'd like us to shout out for you. Now, we did, like I said, Lanyard did have a short week. I've had kind of an interesting week, so we'll go ahead and get into that so that we can work our way to our what news we were able to scrounge up this week.
Well, I didn't log in at all this week. So I logged in Sunday morning because I was going to get on and do some stuff, and I really wanted to do some more hard modes with Suiza. And I logged in, and it was Sunday or Monday morning, and there was 30 to 45 people on fleet, and I was like, well, that's odd. So I thought, okay, well, what shard am I on? And I was on the only shard. So I was like, this is not going to happen. Of course, it was 8 a.m., but it was 8 a.m. my time, so it should have been, close to noon or 11 o'clock East Coast, and it was dead. And I think it has a lot to do with just the time I logged in and everything else. And I didn't want to sit in queue for 3 or 4 hours waiting. And of course, like you said, I've got other things I'm doing during the week, busy doing this and that. And so I unfortunately was unable to get in and do any game time this week.
Oh.
So, what did you do?
Well, I've been, as I tell people, I play several different games, and the nephew keeps me distracted with a few. So there was a bit of War Z, a bit of not Combat Arms, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. But the important stuff is what I did in Star Wars, of course. I've been bouncing back and forth with the PTS. And I really wanted to get everybody a video out for the PTS HK, series. But unfortunately, the more I investigated the storyline and the more I investigated how you unlocked HK, the more I realized without video editing software, that was going to be either the longest video ever to post on YouTube or the most boring shit I've ever posted on YouTube. And I'm not sure which one it might have been. Because apparently with the HK thing, what you have to do is you first have to go and scrounge up some parts via the daily zone, okay? Then you have to run a hard mode foundry or prison, depending on which one is respective to your particular faction. On the Republic side, you have to run hard mode Maelstrom prison, and on the Imperial side, you have to run hardcore foundry. And then you also have to run hard mode False Emperor, which on a live server, not that hard. It'll happen pretty quickly. The problem is, on the PTS, with the 5 other people that were on the PTS with me this week,
they all didn't want to do it.
There was nobody. I mean, you got 2 guys that are leveling up because they didn't get in time to get a low leveled up, and then the other guys were just checking out the emotes and probably recording the videos that I did a week or 2 ago, which is it's okay, but it doesn't lend itself to me being able to go in.
Right. And
I run a Sork, so I don't have stealth. I can't, stealth my way to the last boss or to the boss I need, and then hope to heal and, deep somewhere between there, jiggy my way through getting that quest done. So I said, okay, well, fuck it. I'm not making a video for that. I was like, well, I'll do dailies. And I was like,
yeah.
If you're going
to do dailies, you might as well do dailies where it's going to count.
Well, my only bone of contention with doing dailies on the PTS is I don't like the fact that my characters aren't updated, and I can't get into the things that updated my characters on the live server because there's almost no one there. When they first announce any bit of content, whether it's a new raid, it's new dailies, it's new gear, when they launch a cartel, man, the first day of the cartel. The first day of the cartel, everybody was on there. There's probably 200 people on the PTS, and everybody's on there and checking it out. And then it turns into like the other day, 5-10 people tops. Yeah. You go to the Belsavis, and I pulled up the map or the social log to see who's on a Belsavis, and there's 2 other 50s, and everyone else is just leveling. It's like, God, damn it, I want to be able to do this. Yeah. But it's easier for me to do things if my gear was up to date. And apparently that's one thing they really haven't put much thought into, which is neither here nor there. I did get to do a bit of a story mode this week. Actually today. Me and Safaro were on our Imperial tunes, and he and I were doing some dailies together. We're having fun. Actually got to two-man the Torvik's heroic daily, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't done that too many times with his operative, and the main reason being because his operative isn't quite as geared as he would like it to be.
Right.
But we went through it, just the two of us and some comps out, which was really fun. And he goes, well, you want to run some shit, some hard modes or some flashpoints or whatever. He goes, yeah, sure. He didn't expect me to put us in for story mode ops. And he went, son of a bitch, you queued us for ops, and I didn't even get to fucking know. Like, I didn't want to be a healer for this shit. I would have DPS. I was like, it'll be all right. Don't worry about it. And it was. I mean, for the most part, it was a really kind of interesting, smooth run.
Cool.
Like I told him, as they release new patches, they kind of dumb down the oldish stuff like EV and KP a little bit. And what ends up happening is it's more butter to get through everything. The problem was that when we're doing that, we had one guy who was like 12k health, and in story mode we could have gimped him along. The problem is, as you know, when you're going into EV, right?
Yeah.
Or when you're going from what's the golem's name? The big fucking guy in the lava pit.
I don't know.
Oh, brain farting. All right, so we go from there to the puzzle area, right?
Okay, yeah.
The EV puzzle, and everybody else is flying. This guy died before we even got off the first little island of the lava boss. So he couldn't get in until we finished that fight first. But then when he got in, he didn't know how to get to the puzzle.
Garg, or Karg, or Barg.
Bargarth or something like that.
Something like that.
But
sorry.
We go from there to the puzzle, and we're at the puzzle, and we're having no problem. We're waiting for this guy to get there, and he doesn't apparently know that everybody has skirted how everybody skirts that one section to get to the puzzle. Well, this guy says after the fact that he's never been there before. We asked at the beginning, has everybody been here? We all know the fights, blah, blah, blah. And no one said anything, so we presumed that everyone knew. Well, when we go to the puzzle bot, dude doesn't know and drives through all of the mobs.
All those mobs that are out on the bridge, the outside. Okay.
So all these cats are coming up, and I'm like, oh, it's just 4. Well, then it's 8, and I'm going, oh shit, and then it's 12, and it's oh shit,
it's an op,
and then it's 20, and I went,
yeah.
Oh fuck, and of course they kill him, and none of us can disappear. So yeah, fuck that guy. I can't even remember what his name was. He pissed me off so bad. It was like Malrith or something like that, and I vote kicked him.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I vote kicked him. I put sorry, not your day. That's what I put for reason.
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand if you've never been to something before, but fucking tell somebody.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we always say. It's cool to be, ignorant of some shit, but at least be honest enough to let people know what's going on. Let them know that you've never been. Because we go in there, and I've got my little EV puzzle app from, what the hell site is this? From Force Junkies.
Okay.
They've got a great little puzzle app that I use for EV.
Okay.
And what I do is I ended up at the north, and Safaro was at the south one.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, tell me the colors on the side, tell me the colors in the center, and I mapped it out, and then I typed out in chat what everybody needed to do for turns. So we were literally there waiting for this dude to show up. And he wipes the entire group with the mob of 20 cats, and just totally fracked our day up. It was going to be my chance for an LFG hero in an op. Unfortunately, we went through the whole run smooth as butter.
Yeah.
With the exception of that, at one point we were 6-manning it. We were doing just fine.
Yeah.
We lost one guy due to DC. But, that happened. So we were down to 6 people. We get to SOA, and we're doing fine.
Right.
The problem was, on one pool, the tanks couldn't keep aggro off the healers or the DPS, and they weren't getting them under the pylon so we could take his shield and DPS him hard. Well, then the second run, magically, I'm not real good with where to stand on the outer ring on the second phase. So me and Safara just fell straight to the ground after second phase. So we wiped it up there, and then we went back in one more time, and it was just another wipe. And everybody, as people got frustrated, some of them said, "Well, I'm just going to get my guild, and we're going to kill this, and we're going to take care of Soa now, and whatever."
Right.
And it was really a pain in the ass, but it was fun up until Soa. To be able to 6-man an 8-man raid.
You weren't able to do that?
Well, we got all the way up to Soa, but we had too many mistakes.
Oh.
Ooh, excuse me. But
it happens to all of us, man.
We did some PvP this week, and I want to say I was on the pub side, and I ran into a really cool. I want to say it was not a sentinel. A tanking class Jedi, possibly a tanking class trooper. But Alicia was my LFG hero for PvP this week. It was actually kind of cool. Safar and I get into a lot of PvP matches. He's trying to level up that shadow, like I say. And we were actually playing and having a lot of fun. It's really interesting. And we got into several matches with Alicia, and I get a tell after we left the match that she's like, "Oh, by the way, thanks for all the heals." And I was like, no problem. Thanks for the shield.
Yeah.
We're both racking up medals, and every time she can see me and I drop a heal or a bubble on her, she knows it's me. She popped the shield on me. We got through about 3 or 4 runs, and we were just having a blast. So I want to make sure I gave Alicia a shout out because she did a great job keeping me protected.
Cool.
We worked together really well. I did have my LFG fucking losers.
Oh, okay.
We were doing. I told Safar and I were doing our. I want to say it was our heroic, and he was right after the op had fallen through, and we did a hard mode Battle of Ilum.
Okay.
And we're in there. It's me and him on his operative, and of course I'm just DPS, no big deal. And we get this tank Zorain, and his guildmate Sushi Fish, from the Prestige GC Guild. Just want to make sure I throw that out, because when we go to inspect this guy's gear, not only does he not have mostly tanking gear, but then he's got augments from level 36. Now, I'm all good for orange gear and augmenting it as you go and making it appropriate. But if you're going to put an augment in there at it's 36, you might as well not have done it at all.
Right.
1. 2, 3/4 of his augments were alacrity. And I've been on a lot of tanking forums, and it doesn't matter if I'm looking up for my Vanguard. It doesn't matter if I'm looking up for, a power tech tank. It doesn't matter what the class. No tank says alacrity. You should have alacrity. No. Alacrity is anywhere on the spectrum. Like there's like 18 different other things you could focus on before alacrity ever comes into it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe that's the best one you could get for endurance.
If all else fails.
And I mean, it's not uncommon to see stuff like that because we used to see it in WoW all the time where someone would be. Yeah. We had a warlock friend that always stacked spirit because certain spells worked really well with spirit.
Yeah,
but it was like passive spirit, and she would be stacking it. Well, my regen's terrible, and she'd stack more spirit. Thank God she doesn't listen to this podcast, otherwise she'd probably get mad at me and not send me cookies for Christmas. But she didn't last year, so it's okay.
Well, it's okay. You'll get no cookies.
I'm a fat man. I like cookies by my love. But we get in there, and of course we're telling Sushi. I'm like, Sushi, please, just please. Tell this dude because he's not shielding. He wasn't shielding Safara's character at all.
Okay.
He wasn't in tank form, which confused us both. He's got alacrity on his shit, and he had an earpiece from like level 30. So he was woefully inadequate gear and intelligence wise. Then while we're flipping out, and I'm flipping out, like Safara's he's just too angry to type. And I said, dude, I said, healing you is like working 2 full-time jobs and then working the corner on the slide. I said, that's ridiculous. I said, at least have the courtesy to shield the damn healer because Safari's taking so much aggro that I can't pull it off of him fast enough.
Right.
And then his own guildmate, like we said, we don't like skipping shit. Well, this guy's guildmate says, let's skip this guy, just kill the ads and run. So I'm like, okay, there's that boss that spawns the 4 ads in the doorway there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about because he always stuns you and the ads spawn when everybody dies.
If you don't get them.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, these guys are in the same guild. He's going to listen to his buddy. So we go by, we kill the ads, and the Sushi runs off, and Zorain turns around and starts tanking the boss.
Mm.
So, Safara, trying to be the good guy, goes over there trying to keep him healed. I turn around, try to DPS it. Safara dies, tank dies, I die.
Mm.
Boss resets. The other guy stealths.
Of course he does.
Of
course he does.
And he's like, I got 30 seconds till I can res. Duh. Well, we ain't coming back for you, fuck nuts. But I mean, he died. Dude, he died so fast on almost every pull. It was ridiculous. He wouldn't switch to tank form. He wouldn't, he wouldn't drop shields. And I don't get players that are that inadequate.
Right.
I understand if you're an undergeared tank
or if you're
trying to coax you along,
right.
I'm fine with it.
Or you really don't know what you're doing, but at least you could do is listen to somebody and say, hey, even if the advice that you're being given is completely fucking wrong. If you have no clue, you might as well try it. You got to learn, right? But don't come. I mean, who's coming? Man.
Well, and I understand if he would have said, "Oh, well, I thought I had it tagged as DPS and I'm a tank," but at least own up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had plenty of situations where I didn't have my healing set with me, and I didn't check before I jumped in the queue, and it made me a healer, and I was like, "Well, shit, guys, sorry, I'm not, this. Give me a second, I'll respec, and I'll go and get my shit and jump back in."
Right.
Or on some of my DPS characters, they've ended up being cute as tank, and I'll say, well, let me switch forms, and maybe I can still do the job because I'm in the relative tree of that.
Yeah.
So I can give it a shot, and if I don't work, I'll drop group. But this guy was wholly intent on not even owning up to any of his mistakes. And I at one point I said, am I not privy to some joke that's going on here? Is this just a group troll?
Maybe.
And then we get to the very end of the battle of elements, Flashpoint, and Sushi Fish is like, "Well, great guy, thanks for the group, guys." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure,
no problem."
What do you say at that point?
Yep. See you later. What was that guy's name again? I'm putting on my ignore list.
Zorain, Zoriane.
Zorain.
Yeah, Sushi Fish was just fine. I like Sushi. Sushi did his job. He tried to lead his friend by the nose. His friend did not apparently listen. But yeah, that was just the most frustrating shit in the world because it's not that I have a problem, teaching, educating, man. That's what I do. I actually had a flip out on a guy the other day. I was on Zoe Harat, and the tank's like, "Oh, I've done this instance a million times, and I've got 50s." I'm like, well, I've got 350s, and I've done it equal amount of times, both healing, DPSing, and tanking.
Right.
And I've never had any problems. We were in Hammer Station on the last boss, and I broke the fight down. Make sure you keep, I said, DPS stay out of the blaster sweeps, face them towards the console. DPS grab the ads fast as you can, watch for the grenades.
Right.
Easy enough.
Right.
And, I've got like 3 healing spells. Zoe is not a high-level character. This wasn't a hard mode, okay? It was literally the basery one. She's like 17, and I'm popping my heals fast as I can go.
Yeah.
Starts the fight off. The boss is facing all of us. The DPS doesn't break off to take care of the ads. The tank doesn't bother turning the boss. He doesn't bother the whole strategy. Lord. And he's sitting there, and I'm telling him, I broke it down like 3 times. After the 3rd wipe, I was pissed. I was like, okay, please just listen. Just do as I asked you to, and we'll get through this.
Yeah.
I can't heal this. I've done it before. And, he's like, I don't know who you think you're talking to. I've got 350s, and I've done this a million times. Yeah, and that matters, buddy, because you're failing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the healer. I'm trying to explain to everybody because the DPS wasn't moving out of the blaster sweeps, but it's hard to if the tank turns the boss the wrong way.
Yep.
Or he tab targeted to aggro the ads, and then of course in doing so, since he had aggro on the boss turns around and blaster sweeps all of us. Thank you very much. And I was like, listen, either pull or I'm gone. I got shit to do.
Yeah, I've got other things I could be doing right now. Right.
I've got three other 50s to do dailies on, and I've got another healer waiting to get to 50. Yeah. So I ended up leaving.
Got other shit I could be doing.
But I did have a lot of fun this week. I did, me and Safari do a ton of PvP.
Cool.
we both watched. So we both got to see some of the some really great games. We also got to see some amazingly bad games. A lot of it has to do with the idea that ABC isn't being held down. ABC is, for anyone who doesn't know, is always B capping. It applies to Alderaan War, Novara Coast, anything that has a node that you should cap.
Yeah.
So while you've got two, you still want to push for the third. That way, the other team doesn't get complacent and think they can hit you at point A or point B.
Right.
Having a guard or two helps for calling incomings. But what we saw, this was great. We were on our pubs, and we were watching the imps, and the entire imp team would capture a node, then run to the next one, and capture a node, run to the next.
It's called Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's what I call Vietnam. Are we Vietnaming this? Because everybody's like, what? Are we capturing it and then leaving it to somebody else and then capture the next one, then leave it to somebody else? I mean, that's what we did in Vietnam. We'd capture a hill and we'd move on, right? So that's and then they'd come back and take it again. So
I feel bad reference. I feel really bad reference.
It might be a bad reference, but it's exactly it's exactly what we did in Vietnam. So therefore, it fits perfect to what you would do in a game where you cap something, and then take the entire group, go over to the next one, beat on it, and try to cap that while the one you just capped is completely unguarded, and they walk right back in and take it with no problem.
But nonetheless, we saw that in a couple of matches, and we were actually joking about how bad the pubs were this week, because that's that's what the imps were this week, because that's a lot of what we saw, and if we hadn't had so many stealth scouts running out and checking these points, we wouldn't have noticed it. But every time they'd leave, we'd cap it back, and then they'd go, oh shit, and the whole group would go, like they'd leave no guards, which was just fine by me, because I'm at any place I could be to heal, I was there to heal. I'm absolutely excited. I got like 3 or 4 more levels to get before I get my golden puddle, and I'm looking forward to giving everyone a golden shower with my lovely heals. Now let's see. The last thing, Lanyard, I'm having so much trouble finding good Imperial guild names.
Yeah, I haven't seen any in a long time. Imperial? That's probably because I haven't been on my imp in a long time. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to keep an eye out unless I go to another. We might need to start bringing them in from other servers if people have.
Well, and I'd really like you guys, if you can, please supply me with some funny guild names. I need something, or some interesting ones. A lot of the groups, a lot of the imps are all about having names that are very, monstrous or scary, or that invoke terror, or, anger, or whatever. They're very serious guild names, and I find those to be rather boring. The last one I have for the imps that I'm even interested in is the Balls of Steel guild. That I like Balls of Steel. It harkens back to the old days of gaming. It's back in Duke Nukem. It was an internet meme for a little while. Balls of Steel is still kind of a cool name. I did find one yesterday or today, I can't remember which one it was, that I'm really happy with. Not only am I a Beastie Boys fan, but I love anything that harkens back to the old days, with License to Ilum over on the Republic Guild for Party of the Five. Definitely an interesting name there. But I mean, I've had a good week. It's been fun. I wanted to get into a few more operations this week. Was unable to do anything beyond the EV. I got a lot of dailies going. I'm almost up to 500K again. I can start. I can keep going forward with my augments on my other characters. So when we ran that EV, of course, I'm needing on shit that maybe I don't. Obviously, I don't need for my what I refer to as my primary spec.
Right.
But I'm building up gear for my alt spec, which is my bounty hunter's healing spec. And so I've got I'm 6 pieces off of having Kalumi or better from Rakat's healing set. And then I'll have to start working on my PvP gear for him and getting a little bit more, getting all of my augments into that gear. But it looks to be interesting. I'm really excited to see what they end up finalizing with the 1.5 patch. I want to be able to go and do HK when it hits the live servers, and I'm hoping that I have enough time on that day to be able to do that. Now, if in fact they drop it this week, I look forward to trying to get a group of guildies together. Hopefully, hope to see Kiwi and Yuan if that patch drops this week, so that we can all get together and run for the HK droid on both sides, or at least on one side, so that we can afford to buy it on the other side.
Yeah.
Because I look forward to seeing how that companion works out and seeing what the storyline actually gives you the feel. I'm wondering if you just get all the parts and put it together and poof, you have HK, or if there's they've designed a cutscene to really enthrall us in that. I just think that would be really fun, really interesting situation. But we do have a little bit of news, so we'll go ahead and get on into that.
The news.
Here's your Galactic news. Look what you missed while you were sleeping.
All right, so obviously we said we didn't have any patch notes because good old Joveth decided to delay the patch notes, or delay whatever patching may have been done this week. And they said it was supposed to be just maintenance, which apparently was not very admirable as far as the posters were concerned on the server forums. Let's see. One thing I was happy about, though, is they changed the PTS from a free-to-play format back to a standard format.
Thank the gods.
Now, I'll have to, of course, reset all of my damn skills on my bars, but at least I have all of my bars. I did find it kind of frustrating because when they reset that this past week, it was right after the show, and I had just paid for both Section X as well as, to be able to hide or show my head slot, be able to unify my colors. So I wasted a little bit of coin that could have been used to buy more boxes to see what more cool gifts could have been procured through there. But no harm done, I guess. Let's see what else is there. I know there's more. There was a thing from Joveth that said that we're not going to do the maintenance this week, and then of course he got a response. Joveth Gonzalez just confirmed, via Twitter that there will be no 1.5 this week. We are still testing the PTS. This was going to be a normal patch maintenance for our systems, and they just say correct, stay tuned. Other people, of course, say can we get this over with? We want the patch. Let's do this. And what I keep telling everybody in the guild and all of my friends that are asking, so when is free to play coming out? I'm like, listen, shut up. Just wait for it. Be patient. There's nothing that could shoot us in the foot more than to release a patch, at least the free-to-play patch, and have it buggier than batshit.
Yep.
And it'll dissuade that many more people. And as it has been in the past, they think they've got everything sorted out fairly well, and they don't.
They don't. Yeah. Something comes up. Yep.
Right. So now we did have a little community news this week as far as the state of the game goes. Just 1 second, let me. Sorry, I was trying to handle some stuff with the dog. What are you laughing about?
I thought you were gonna throw something.
No. But we had a state of the game come out this week. It says, "Hello everyone. This is the first of many state of the game postings to you, the players. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and finally have the opportunity to get it started. I'm hoping to use these postings as a direct way to address the top issues and top concerns of our community. I don't get to everything all at once, but I'll try to hit some big ones and talk about the topics as openly as I can. It's my hope that you'll respond with comments, questions, concerns. As you do, I will then take these and either roll them into my next update or have Star Wars The Old Republic community answer them directly as we usually do. Sound good? Okay. Before I begin, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know, my name is Jeff Hickman. I'm the executive producer of Star Wars The Old Republic. I have been working for the team for 2 years now and am responsible for most of the live services and ultimately the launching of the award-winning game. 12 years ago, I joined the industry and made Dark Age of Camelot. with Mythic, and he's listing all his other jobs that no one gives a shit about because we're playing Star Wars. So it says, yeah, that takes me back. Well, it does have one of the games that you did like, which was Ultima Online.
I never played Ultima Online.
Oh, that's my nephew's favorite.
Yeah, I never played it.
It's still to this day.
I've seen people playing it. I never played it.
And he was also part of Warhammer Online. Dun, 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 dun. It says, when we decide to go free to play, when we decided earlier this year to go free to play, we had weeks of discussions with everyone on our team where we thought the game was going, what we thought was going right, what we thought was going wrong, uncovered a lot of issues, but 3 things really stood out. Our game was awesome, people loved it, and wanted to play it. Subscription requirement was driving away huge numbers of people who do not want to commit to a monthly payment. I would argue the opposite.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. As evident as what happened to the PTS, once they finished everybody to free to play, they said everybody stopped. Yeah. Everybody just left. I was like, "Fuck, I ain't doing that shit."
We're already paying, buddy.
I am.
It says the frequency of our game updates was too slow. People were leaving because we were not releasing new content fast enough to keep up with the pace at which it was being consumed. We are now seeing the results of these conversations. Free to play going live this fall. We are dedicated to getting game updates out every 6 weeks or so. Though each of these efforts is incredibly challenging for our team, they have accepted the challenge and are tackling them head on. But we know that there's more we can do, more you want us to do. So today I thought I might be more useful to dive into the more granular and hot topics. Granular, really?
Granular.
Topic 1, granular. Like, I keep scraping my ass because I keep trying to show up at EV on time, but unfortunately there's no in-game calendar yet.
Yeah, little minor things like that.
But it says topic 1, the staff. Why are some developers leaving the Old Republic, and how will the game be affected? The answer: people leave for a lot of reasons. Some worked for the project for 6+ years and are simply tired and want to go work on something else.
That is not why they're leaving. If it was great and they're having a ton of fun doing the job, they would still be doing the job. They just don't get, I'm kind of beat. I'm going to go ahead and quit. No.
Well, I mean, I can understand the idea that, you do a certain job and you really
need to change. Let's talking about, like, the janitor. I mean, you get tired of cleaning the same office. I'm moving on.
I need to clean a bigger office.
I don't.
Others may not agree with the direction the game is heading.
That's all.
Free to play is not for everyone and requires a big shift in thinking and culture within the studio. Still, others do not have the right skills and roles that we have as the studio evolves and changes. See, when we...
Your dog's just wants to be in the show, man.
No shit. The dog and the cat, everybody. When any single person leaves, whether we make the decision or they do, it is difficult, but the studio and the game live on and thrive as we change. Actually thrive because we change. The core of what makes the game and studio great are still here, quality in our game and in our workplace. People are passionate and about both, a camaraderie with each other that helps us support one another, and key people like James Olin, who was at BioWare from the very start, who continue to help us carry the banner of BioWare, and who are dedicated to help evolve and improve Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I understand that, every office goes through changes, right? Like every business I've ever worked at, there's constant rollover. Game studios may not be as noticeable. I think it's the spotlight has really been turned on to BioWare specifically because of the launch of the game. People want to focus on the negative sides.
Yeah.
I still see a fair amount of people playing the game. I see a few less bugs. I do see them fixing bugs a bit more often now than which I would focus more on the new content. But me and like I was talking to Safara, and he said, well, he's more of an alcoholic where he gets 1 to 50, and then he goes to the next one, and that's his focus. So the fact that they're putting in little bits of new content and in game is helpful, but not determinable as to what he has fun with.
Right.
You and I have several 50s, so now we're kind of like, okay, I could go for a new planet to level on. And, you and I have both gotten our characters fairly geared, so now we're going, well, I could use some new gear. It'd be kind of nice to, sport some new threads or have some new adventures in the end game.
Yeah.
But the one thing that, regardless of level, that's important to everyone is, any of the bugs that are in the game. Sudden crashes, issues with your client closing for no reason. We had a problem today where and this happened once for me, but 3 times for Safara, was when we died, we said, okay, return to Med Center. Now, he and the first time, it kicked both me and him to Ilum. So, fleet pass, run over to the front of the instance, jump in. Okay, no big. Second, wipe. He got portal to Ilum again, even though he had literally been outside the instance before the start.
Got sent way back again. Yep.
Yeah, and on the third time, he got sent back to Ilum. So there are things like that, and it was the thing. It wasn't even a thing where it said, "Well, would you like to go to your previous location or just exit location?" It just said, "Return to Med Center." You click it, boom, he was off to Ilum 3 times.
Yeah.
I click it, I was off to Ilum the first time and got sent outside the door the next 2. So little stupid things like that are the things that I find to be more annoying. Like if you're running an instance, you want to find, you go outside, you're screwed.
The other reason I didn't do anything with Suiza was I logged in. Now, like I hadn't logged in all week. So I log in and I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my dailies. I got to check all the boxes again to make my, to give me my daily queue for looking for group, right? For my black holes and whatnot. And it said, I checked them all and said, okay, join queue. It says you are not daily comms not available, have already been accepted, or you've already gotten them.
So your dailies had reset.
Yeah, and hadn't logged on in a week, and yet I couldn't get my daily comms. Now the fucked up thing was KP was back up there, but whereas last time I was on, it didn't give me my black hole comms, but it also knocked me out of KP. I couldn't do it. So, but then now KP was available, so I could do the 8-man's story mode, but all my daily stuff for my 5 black hole comms on hard modes or the daily comms on the regulars said I had already gotten them, and I hadn't logged on in a week. So I was like, you know what?
And what do you think? What do you think as far as this idea that every 6 weeks we need a new content patch?
No,
it's
no.
Yeah, every 6 weeks sounds like a really stringent schedule. At that point, we're not talking about like massive content. We're not talking about an op. We're talking about, oh, hey, here's a holiday boss, or here's a group of quest lines.
No, that's pushing
that doesn't
much. I think what they really need, they really need, is to be schooled on how to make a proper MMO and how to keep content. The MMO is fine. The game is fine. They did fine on building the game. The game, other than minor bugs and a few things, but what they lack, in my opinion, is the knowledge of the MMO player, and how to keep them an MMO player. World of Warcraft didn't come out with new content every 6 weeks. A lot of other popular MMOs don't come out with content every 6 weeks. They have a large 1.5, so to speak, patch. They'll have a big 2.0 for an expansion patch. But those come out. Those come out once every 1 to 2 years. You've got Warcraft has got the holiday things, and that might help, doing little holiday things as long as it's every year at the same time and it's not trying to be something. But again, WoW ended up getting to be where every fucking month you had some type of damn holiday, which was annoying. But you've got it. They have a 50 cap right now, and they're coming out with a new op, which is
Mhm.
this new. They're not coming out with a new op, but they're expanding this op, and giving us better gear. Okay, fine. Are they going to keep giving us better gear and have us at a level cap? Or are they going to actually bump up the level cap? In my opinion, they need to bump up the level cap. You start bumping up the level cap, people come back to just level. There are a lot of people out there that all they do is level their character. It doesn't matter if it takes
Mhm.
them a week or if it takes them 6 months. That's what they come back to do, is level the character. So, you got to bump the level cap up to, I wouldn't even say 60. I would say probably 70 would be a good level cap. Go 20 levels, bump that up to 7, and you got plenty of room for more ops. You got plenty of room for more flashpoints. You got plenty of room for, there's thousands of planets you could go visit and do stuff on. With this free to play thing, I like the way they did the free to play, because I really honestly believe they've made it to where it discourages you from being free to play. Because unless the only thing you want to do is storyline, and you don't mind taking time to do it, because it takes you forever to level because of your experience cap, your experience freeze, your lower experience. You
Right.
you can't travel anywhere without spending real money. You can't do any PvP except for what, now they moved it back to 5 days a week, or
Yeah.
five a week.
5 a week.
You can't do flashpoints. You can't do ops. You can't wear the gear that drops. You can't.
Well, you can if it's from an op. You can't if it's procured elsewhere.
So
Like you can't buy like the PvP gear. You can't buy the social gear, things of that nature,
or
without buying the
the
the permission slip.
flashpoint gear and stuff like that. Okay. Or what about crafted though? Let's just
Crafted same. If it's orange or purple, you still can't wear it. It's so,
Unless you get it from an ops drop, which you have to pay to get into, um,
or it's from a quest line item.
quest line, which there's a few of those, unless they bump that up. So I mean, that's really discouraging be free to play, which, hey, I'm fine with. I didn't want it to go free to play anyway. Fuck it. I don't mind the introduction of cartel coins. They could have made it subscription and still gave us cartel coins. Because the cartel coin stuff is kind of cool. I like some of the stuff that they've got. Not all of it, kind of shit, but
Yeah.
I do like some of that stuff. So I mean, that is fine with me. And this stupid video of mine keeps freezing up, so we're just gonna go back to this one. Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to watch rat ghoul shit, um, over and over. But in order to keep people in the content of the game, uh, they've really got to figure out, what do MMO players. We're a different breed than any other game. People that play MMOs strictly, which I'm one. Um, they are not your first-person shooter people. They don't usually play. I don't play first-person shooters. I mean, we're a different breed. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out what's in our heads, what keeps us playing. What keeps me playing is the storyline. In this game especially, is the storyline, the interaction I have with other players, the interaction I have with my own companions, since this is the only game that I've had that has companion interaction. That's fun. The storyline's great, and I do like the new ops. Now, granted, I've been to KP and all the ops except for TFB, and it's story mode at least. So whether I go back to hard mode or not, I'm not. I'm like, man, okay, I can. I don't really need to, but I can, because I can do story mode, because I'm not a hardcore. And I'm rambling, and I've lost my complete train of thought.
But no, I understand, and it's looking at BioWare's side of things. They've done several MMOs that were online. Warhammer, a couple of iterations of Warhammer Ultima. Mythic has had a few online MMOs, or MMOs in general, as far as their releasings of Ultima Online. Now, another MMO, or another online game, I should say, it's not an MMO RPG, but it is an MMO by technicality, is Need for Speed Need for Speed World, which I've played, EA's made. And their thing was, you got into the game, you played for free. They gave you some cheap cars you could start off with, in-game, cash you could buy stuff with, but it was just racing parts. And I don't know what EA side of it is. Obviously BioWare is trying their best to do what they do best, which is give us more story, more imaginative sections of the game, like Section X, like TFB. They're trying to figure out what makes an operations runner tick, which I think is a big key to it. There in World of Warcraft, the people who ran the equivalent of ops, which were raids in Star Wars, the biggest portion of those people made up about 20% of their overall sales base, and those people were hardcore. They would go at content literally from day one, trying to bust their heads against it and do it for 6 to 7 hours at a time, figuring out these raid bosses, figuring out these next fights, and that's what kept them interested. Then you had a smaller portion of the population that was all about nothing but PvP. And that's the problem is you're catering to such a wide base, it's hard to say what content needs to come out. Well, if you release a new operation, you get 20% of your people back. But once they beat it, they're going to put it on the back burner again.
Yeah.
You put out a new PvP match, 10, 15% of your people come back. They see it, they like it, they don't like it, they split again. People who are in the storyline, they'll stay there and play all day.
Yeah.
People who breed and enjoy the familiarity of the world, they'll be there all day. Kevin has been an ardent player of World of Warcraft for years, and it's because and he and I've talked about it. And it really is. It's the familiarity of the world. It's the familiarity of the characters, and it's been hard, I think, for some of the Star Wars players to be able to breed that nature consistently, because we started off with a game that was huge. Everybody was fucking playing it. You couldn't go to your server without having a queue time.
Right.
And that was from the alpha stage to the beta stage, then the release, and then 6 months after release, now we can't find anybody to play with. Well, then they say, okay, well let's get our servers together. People on your friends list, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I got 15, 20 people on my friends list, and I see them log in once in a while. They probably see me log in even less often because I'm on Republic side or I'm on the Imperial side, and it's hard to keep track of your friends. I wonder if maybe doing something like Blizzard did with having Battle.net, something like Battle.net. We all had to sign up at BioWare's or at EA's Buy It Here site. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe we should have a better way of tracking down our friends. It would make things a little easier on us. I can't say that to be an empirical fact, but I think it might be an option. As far as what gets people back, do you need 6 weeks? Hell no. I don't think you should you should do it every 6 weeks. I think if you work on a quality product and you put the patch out there right, like they have for the most part in the so far in the patches we've gotten, I think it works out well. Blizzard released one major patch, something like every year, but then they had every quarter they released a partial patch. And it was a patch that gave us a little bit of content previewing what was coming up, a little bit here, a little bit there, and they kept building it up. And when you got the big patch, you were like, "Oh my god!" And it blew your mind. Yeah. Here we are at 1.5, and the 1.5 deal is actually suggesting that now we get HK, we get Section X, we get a whole new chunk of storyline. I would like to see them raise the level cap. I think if they did it like once a year, raised it 10 points. That would help us get to it, but I want a little bit of difficulty to get to that next level. Don't make it something that maybe without like, and I'll be blunt, without evading your family and job for a week, you should not be able to get to that 10 levels.
Yeah. Shouldn't be able to do it in a day or a week.
But I'm excited for free to play. I still wonder if pushing the content every 6 weeks doesn't mean that we'll end up with smaller patches like. Okay, so here's some new rides. Here's better textiles. Here's a couple of patterns. You got to remember
which direction they're going. They're going towards free to play, and free to players they know like fluffy stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of the stuff on the cartel market that I'm excited to see. I want to ride around on the throne. I like the dragon mount. I love the glowing eyes. That top is phenomenal on Nagajalokia. I'd love to get that on every one of them. Let's see. Under the second topic, he says bugs. How does testing work? Why do bugs get through? Why did game update 1.4 have so many of them? What are you doing to improve this process? His answer is MMOs are undoubtedly one of the most complex games on the earth. Not a bad starting line. We employ hundreds of Q&A professionals to ensure that our game is high quality, but sometimes bugs get through. We test every step of the way as we develop the game or change the game. We have many development environments that work in sequence to push the updates from initial construction to code and content to internal end-to-end testing to player-facing testing on the public test servers, and then on the live servers. Sometimes, like in game update 1.4, we make changes that have unintended and undiscovered consequences on completely different parts of the game. The performance issues that showed up in the update are a great example of this. These unintended changes happen more often than you think or like, we would like. Though we usually catch them before they go live, we have recently put new measures in place, both in development teams and Q&A, as on the public test server, where we should find many of these types of issues to catch things like this in the future. I'm not saying it won't happen again. Bugs will always happen, but we will strive to give the best high-quality, bug-free experience we can. As a side note, we finally got a lock on the last major issue of game update 1.4 and appreciate your patience. Now, what that particular bug was, I don't know, because it doesn't say. But, it's good to hear that they're trying to knock out as many bugs as they can, because as we see a shift from time to time in population and in game interest, I mean, I still see people every day who, they're now putting out the $15 so they can get into the game for the first time. It's a viable price. Economic standings not withholding. $15 is now a perfectly reasonable price for a new MMO player to try, get in and test it out. $15, free month of the game, and now we're going into into the free-to-play zone, where you get the game and you're able to play through the storyline, level up, do a couple of hops, do a couple of flashpoints, do a couple of flight missions. Wow, I don't even remember what they call those. That's how
space missions.
Space missions. Yes.
Yeah.
I got to do one of those just to see if they're just as annoying as they used to be.
Just as boring as they were before.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I did find them boring. I find them more frustrating. I always fly into asteroids and shit. Like I would do a barrel roll at the wrong time and smash into an asteroid.
Bam! Yeah. And then especially on some of those where you'd hit one and it'd knock you into the other.
Yeah, very
like
pinballish. or because of the way it was railed, you would miss objectives.
Yeah.
Or certain things wouldn't show up on the map right.
Right. Yeah, so I always had to shoot stuff like, I was trying to hoping it's still hitting it. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure, in some of the other games that, or in some of the other people's experience, they've been able to do it because they're, at 50 and they've got all the top of the line items on their ship.
I've got all the top of the line stuff on Squeeze's ship, and I still can't get through some of them.
Jesus.
The one with all the mines.
Yeah.
I can never fucking get all the objectives. I don't die or anything. I just can never get all the objectives because it just flies by too damn fast. And then you get, like, for instance, there's one part where you gotta kill an ore hauler, and you can see it. It's way the hell out there, and you do your little rail thing, and it's still way the hell out there. And then you bypass it once, and you got to knock out 7 freaking engines. And then it goes by, and you're like, okay, I got 5. I'll come back around to it. And the next thing you know, you're flying off into space. Fail mission.
Oh wow. Maybe you got to EMP it or something. I don't know.
I'm thinking that's what I don't have an EMP. That's the only thing I don't have, so maybe I need to do that.
But, I mean, it's good to see that they've gotten some of the bugs out there. Obviously, the UI overlapping the load screens has gotten taken care of. I'm noticing a slightly lower time on the load screens in between planets. I'm not seeing some of the bugs that I had seen previously. So it's good to see that some of them are disappearing.
The things I'm having the biggest issue with now, when I did log in on Monday or Sunday in the morning, I had to shut the game down, hard close it, restart it, hard close it, restart it, because I would get to that first initial load screen. I'd find my characters,
Right.
I'd click on squeeze and it would go to that first initial load screen. A little bar goes across the bottom. It'd get about a third up and then sit there.
Yeah.
It would just freeze. And I mean, it would sit there, and I said, okay, fine, I'll just let it load. Maybe it's just taking a look. No, I mean, it wasn't like I was getting irritated because it wasn't loading in 30 seconds. I mean, I went and took a shower, came back, and I'm still on that load screen. So I had to hard close it 3 times. And then all week last week, or all the week when I was playing before, I'd be in the middle of something, game would crash. It never had that problem before. Game would crash. Game would crash. Game would crash. I'd log in. I'd come back. I'd finally get to my planet. Game would crash. I'm like, okay, something's screwed up because it never did this before, and I haven't changed anything in my computer. So it's just, I don't know. I'm having game crash issues. I'm having load issues. And that's just, you know, to me, that's like, fuck it. I could get into another game like that. I'll just go play that one. So.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the dissuading things, and it's things that I would really like to see, and because all of everything on my driver's side is updated.
Yeah.
You know, my everything runs smooth. You know, and I've said before, I play many other games. The fact that I have client crashes is that's probably my largest impedance. I will play the game for 12 hours one day and never have a single drop, and then I will come in the next day and I've got a drop every hour or so, or I'll launch into something and die because my game crashed.
Yeah.
You know, so I would like to see. I would rather see less content pushed out and more bugs fixed than I would content over bugs. You know, and though I would, you know, in as my boss likes to say, in a perfect world, we'd never have any bugs. But I think if they tightened up on the bugs, that would help a lot of people out. Now, as far as, you know, PvP goes. PvP is a constant balancing act. You know, they're currently talking about nerfing some of the higher DPS melee classes or the force-based classes, so that they're closer to in line with the the non-force using classes. If that's the case, fine. So I want force users to have as many stuns as operatives and smugglers. I want no one to have an AoE. I want everyone to AoE heal. And I want a bigger self-heal for every class.
I've said it. I've said it several times. The only way you can properly balance PvP is to make everybody the same class, everybody have the same armor, everybody have the same 1 or 2, 1 heal, 1 range, 1 melee. That's what they've got. And then they're all wearing the same armor. They're all the same class. It's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can balance PvP. You cannot have different classes with different abilities and wearing different armor and and having different skill sets and then try to be balanced. The only way you can do it is have 1 attack, 1 armor, 1 heal, go play.
Yeah. I would rather to default to what we were told many developer notes ago. Where every class was designed with a counterbalance class, and be happy with it. You know, you're never going to have perfect PvP or perfect dependent on your particular class and the slot you're filling. You may not feel adequate. Maybe, you know, you're an operative and you feel that a marauder tears you apart. Well, that's because the marauder's not. You're not meant to go against a marauder.
Right.
You know, and it does suck from time to time, but you need to know what role you're filling.
Right. But then again, it's a rock paper scissors thing.
Yeah.
Not you know, something will always break the other thing. You know, just off the top of my head, like you were saying, if you're an operative and you can't take on a marauder and you're pissy because a marauder kicks your ass, well, I'm sure a marauder's pissy because a sork can kick his ass. You know, and the sork's mad because a bounty hunter can kick her ass. But you know, the operative can kick the bounty hunter's ass. So you know, you know your fucking class. Know your class, know what you can do, know what your abilities are. If you see somebody, I used to do the same thing when I played WoW. I would play my rogue, and I knew what I could take out. Anything wearing cloth, I'm good with, right? If I try to but I would walk on, I would go to the other side of the field in Warsong Gulch if I saw a goddamn paladin, because he would kick my fucking ass. I couldn't do anything to him, so I would avoid that class unless I was, but I would help kill him. I would help kill him. So if somebody's over there beating up on him, I'd be more than happy to come in there and help. But I can't go 1v1 on him. because I just knew that I couldn't. I didn't sit there and bitch because I thought they were. Well, no, I did bitch, but I mean, it's you have to know what you're doing. With my bounty hunter, when I would play with Lanyard, I knew that he wasn't going to kill anything. I mean, unless the person's half dead already, But I did know that I could stand there and take a punishment and draw other people. I was playing World of Tanks the last week. Okay, this is the same thing. I have a little tiny tank. Okay, he's got very little armor, but he's got a serious amount of no. This is the other way around. Little amount of he does no damage, but he can take a hell of a beating. Okay,
right.
This goes perfectly along with with Lanyard. I was over there and I had 6 of 15 tanks. It's 15 versus 15. I had 6 of these fuckers just beating the shit. I mean, I'd go around corners and wait, and then they'd come back, and I had 6 of them all tied up, and they're going, ha ha, noob, you suck, blah blah blah, because they killed me, and we ended up capping and winning the match because 6 of them were paying attention. It's the same thing with Lanyard. It's the same thing with your class. If you know how to run your class, it doesn't matter who's OP against you,
Well, and
and I'll say it every time we bring it up.
And the shout out I gave to Alicia. Now, Alicia was a tank. I'm a healer. I pair up with the person who can keep me alive, and she pairs up with the person that can keep her alive.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what happens. You may run into a team that, there was a guild we ran up against. I can't remember the name. Hopefully Safari will remember and post it on our YouTube site. But, their characters, every one of them augmented. Every one of them twinked. I mean, just every piece they could twink, they did. Mm-hmm. And that gave them an advantage. Mm-hmm. They're very organized. But that doesn't mean that class was overpowered. It meant that those people were really good at the game.
Yep.
If you suck, I mean, I put it on my Call of Duty thing, my Call of Duty stuff. I put it on almost every video that I really, really suck at. I put it up there. I suck. Blind kid could gank me if they wanted to. Right. I understand. No need to comment.
Right.
But it's about pairing up, about being part of a cohesive group, and PvP is hit or miss on that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can balance it out. I still see more situations where we and we've talked about this. God, I don't know how many shows I should probably stop, but we've talked about the resolve issue. And how we talked about the unstoppable marauders. Has anyone seen any lack of unstoppable marauders?
No.
Because I am a stoppable healer now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I have a tank, like I had Alicia, with me the other day, Alicia was right in front of me, keeping them off of me. Safara notices the same thing. We'll get in together in PvP, and they'll focus on me and not him.
Yep.
So all I'm doing is healing myself, and he's wailing on him. I'm now the main asset to the reason we get to keep certain locations, because I keep myself up while this guy's douching, trying to kill me, and Safara's right there. Ha! I'm taking you down, and he gets tons of kills. So do I, because I'm healing him.
Yep.
I'm bubbling him, and that's what it's about.
Yep.
It's that teamwork aspect. What we see entirely too often in every match. It doesn't matter if it's an all-around war, Novara Coast. It doesn't matter if it's a hut ball. It's the one-on-one attitude. Yes, there is a one-on-one medal. Does it mean you have to be one-on-one? No. That's the kind of stuff that I think people don't pay attention to. It's a team sport, guys. This is an MMO. I know that the storyline and the fact that you can go out into the world and do this shit all by yourself has got you fluffed up. That's great.
Yeah.
But when you get into PvP, that's when it's time to buckle down and be with the team.
Yep.
Knuckle up and it'll get it done. Stop doing the solo stuff. That's where I think my idea of having the touchback in Hutball would be fantastic. Everyone who tried to one-on-one a guy who gets the ball because he got his one-on-one kill, knock his ass over the line and screw him.
Yeah, knock
that
him
would
back.
Be fun.
Yeah.
But the last note on here, as far as the state of the game goes, was oceanic populations. Are we doing anything about them? Now, this doesn't necessarily concern you and I, but I know we have a lot of people in the oceanic area that listen to our podcast. It says we are very aware of the concerns of the population levels on the oceanic servers. The problem is pretty complex. As the solution we have either split the populations further, like allowing oceanic players to move to North American servers, or force players to go to servers, PvP or RP, etc., that they do not want to be on. Yeah. Our current plan is to wait to free to play for free to play to launch and see what the influx of new players does to the populations of these servers. We will give a little time, and if we do not see a significant improvement, then we will move ahead with a solution that offers the best playing experience for Oceanic community.
Most people are complaining. If you're going to complain that there's low pop, you're complaining that it's low pop not because you don't see people in the world when you're out running and leveling. You're complaining about low pop because you can't get into a flashpoint. There's the queue times for PvP are excessively long. Adding free-to-players, if they do straight-up free-to-play, is not going to help that. Yeah. Because you're still going to be waiting for other pay-to-players to get into queue.
Well, in the long term, the free-to-play is going to help that because people who play free-to-play are going to and I'm thinking this is how they're thinking about it too. Okay? Correct me if you think I'm wrong. But I think the idea is that with free-to-play, that people will come into the game, they'll get their equivalent of a taste because it's pretty much what you get with free-to-play, and they're going to want to. Those people are going to want to buy more time, and that's what's going to allow for the larger influx.
If they can't, okay, currently we have free-to-play up to level 10-ish, 15,
15, yeah.
If your taste hasn't. If you haven't tasted enough to pay for the game in 15 levels, playing 50 levels at free-to-play isn't going to get it for you.
Well, I mean, some of those storylines are really dry. Like the Consular. What if you wanted to be a Consular? I've played that storyline, and I'll be honest, there were certain points very dry and very hard to get into. Or just
sure,
boring.
It was that way. I was that way on all of them. There was some areas that were just.
I was enthralled with my bounty hunter from point A to point B. I couldn't get enough. On my sword,
well, maybe I was too, but I don't remember the bounty hunter story at all.
Oh, I remember every ounce of it, dude. It's ingrained in my skull.
Trooper
being able to win the Great Hunt.
Trooper was me. Trooper is that way for me. And even then, there was it's kind of slow. Get
certain
it over
portions
with.
Were,
and then it got into the good stuff right there again at the end. But I really don't remember any of the bounty hunter. What I really don't remember though at all is my Marauder. Yeah. I remember getting Vet, and I remember doing the conversations with Vet, but I don't remember anything about the storyline with him. Nothing.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten
Sork. I just hit my 50 with Sork. I just hit, and it's like, I kind of remember some things. Like I know I had a groupies. I don't remember what they were for a while, but I don't remember too much about it. Yeah. The Trooper really stuck with me though.
Yeah, and I think that might be part of it. Like if someone plays and you're getting 15 levels into certain classes, the story hasn't picked up or doesn't have enough speed. I mean, you're still in chapter 1. Chapter 2 expands what happens with your character, so maybe the storyline side of things. You still see between levels 1 and 15 fairly vibrant worlds when you start a new character. You still see a lot of people playing it out, but I think it's because at 15 you're still not up until 15 you don't even get to go into any flashpoints.
Do you think also that there might be people not wanting to do the Star Wars MMO? Because it's Star Wars, they have that stick. Now, before you answer, because I know you're not a huge Star Wars fan, although you're stoked on the game. Yeah. But there are people out there that just don't like Star Wars, and so therefore they have that stigma that it's like it's Star Wars. I really don't give a shit about Star Wars. However, I play SWTOR, and I don't really think of it as Star Wars. I think of it as a space game, and then if I put my thinking cap on and go, oh yeah, this is so and so from this and that connects to this. But other than that, I really don't think of it as a Star Wars game. More as I think of it as a sci-fi space game MMO, more than I do actual Star Wars, because you don't have Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker running around. It's way before their time, and so I mean, do you think maybe that a stigma if they had just made it some called it, some other sci-fi game?
I mean, I don't think they could have picked a better franchise to make a sci-fi game. As far as what they've done terrestrial and planetary, I don't think they could have picked a better IP For something like Farscape wouldn't have really helped. Battlestar Galactica wouldn't have helped. There are certain IPs that would not have lent themselves appropriately. I am not a Star Wars fan. Yeah. We've talked about this on many episodes. I feel that with a lack of background, for the world we're in now, it does feel more like I'm just in a space universe.
Yeah.
We have things that are very, I'll say, tangible and familiar. But yeah, without having a little bit of the foreground like we have with listening to the Darth Revan books and the Darth Plagiarist books and things like that, without having those, I don't think I would understand the world as much as I do right now. Do I think that hurts it? Definitely. I don't think that at any point you can really get down with it because all of us said, oh man, I want to get the deluxe edition because I want to go up to this special level in the fleet because we're expecting to see the old standbys.
That was the first gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, you're expecting 10,000 years.
They still haven't done anything in that VIP room, the fuckers.
No, nothing worth having spent $1 million gold on a wristband or $1 million credits on a wristband or for that matter
$100 on the game.
There's going into Terrell 5, there's one of Yoda's races, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but one of Yoda's races inside of there, and one of the guys goes, did you ever wonder why this guy talks normal and Yoda talks like a retard?
Yeah, that is weird.
So, of course,
the other guy kind of doesn't talk inside out like Yoda does.
Yeah, and we start joking throughout it. Well, when he's 900 years old, we'll see how he talks.
Yeah.
Maybe Yoda had a stroke.
900 years old, you are.
Yeah. When 900 years old you are, talk like me, you might.
You might. Speaking of, I've got all the Star Wars movies except for Episode 3. Okay. And here last weekend I watched 1 and 2, and it was kind of nice to see some of the stuff that transferred from our world that we play in SWTOR into the episode 1 and 2. But then I watched 3, and I've watched 3 a couple times. I'm not really impressed with any of the actors in that show, in that movie, other than of course Liam Neeson. And I like the guy that plays the Emperor, but. I watched this show, this episode 3, really trying to focus on this story, the lore, okay? And I don't know why, but I might be the last Star Wars guy to know, and I'm not really a big Star Wars guy, but you just mentioned Darth Plagiarist. That Darth Plagiarist is the Emperor that's in 1, 2, and 3, and presumably in 4, 5, and 6. Plagiarist was his master. Mm-hmm. See, I didn't dig that connection, believe it or not, because the whole time I was thinking it was the same fucking guy. And of course, I know about Plagiarist because of Revan, the book Revan, and you figure out where he is, because they were talking in 3 about there was one guy that there was only one person that figured out how to conquer death. And I was like, oh, yes, I read that book. I understand that. Oh my God. Oh wow. And so now it made the episode 3 that much better. Acting still sucked, but the story was really and some of the scenes were a little beyond over the top, but it did make, I was like, and of course now that I play, I'm so really into the Sith side. Even though I love my trooper, I play her evil, and I still like the dark side better. Yeah. I found myself rooting for the Emperor the entire. I was like, yeah, kick his ass. Even I was like, it was cool.
And that's another thing. I think the game does kind of have that backflow technique to where you get enough of the storyline and you want to be more immersed in some cases. Like the true RPG fans, they get into this game and then they want to get more. They want to find out more. Like that's what you and I have talked about since day one. Is wasn't a really huge Star Wars fan, but then I played this game and I'm like, man, I want to know where some of this comes from. I want the world I'm in to relate more to what I'm seeing. You go back and in your case, case, you're watching the movies. In my case, I'm reading the books.
Yeah.
And you start to get that feel of, okay, well, this is where this guy's from, and this is where that guy's from. So the idea of 1 to 50 and playing the storyline or being in the world in and of itself works really well for an RPG player. It's what are they going to do for the MMO guys?
Yeah.
And the MMO guys are your PvPers and your ops runners. That's the simple facts.
Yeah.
You know, and if they do realize that and they do delve into that, that's how they're going to get some of their bread and butter with more people. And I'm not saying it's doomed if they don't, but if they were able to give us more storyline and give us 10 more levels here and 10 more levels there.
Give me more story. I want to do more with my companions.
Yeah.
It was great to have that one companion that you would actually go and do stuff with, but why can't go do stuff with
that? And that gives you the opportunity to wonder, is it the fact that they thought, well, yeah, they're gonna, having the companions is cool and all, but no one's actually going to do companion storyline. And I was like excited when I put my first character.
Shit, when I found out I could actually go do levels or do quests for her or with
for her or him, yeah,
Vet, I think it was. I was like, dude, and I went back to the freaking fleet and just started buying freaking gifts. Because I wanted to go through that storyline with her. That was really, really cool. And then I started doing it with all my companions, and I'm like, where's the fucking storyline? When am I not doing anything with these people? And yeah, it was just Vet or just Mako. It was like, why can't I go do other shit? I kept waiting for Galt to say, hey buddy, I need your help. No.
Yeah.
No, I got it on my own. I'm good. No.
And that was kind of frustrating. Is I was looking forward to, like, there's 5 guys. These are 5 extras. I mean, and it's a quest a piece, or 5 quests a piece, so it's 25 extra quests. Yeah. But it would have been cool to be able to immerse yourself in that and really get to know that character.
Absolutely, and I think it would be great. I know that I'm not really into the buy stuff, I know that there are people out there that want to be able to romance whichever companion they would like, male, female, alien, droid, whatever. And I think it would be better if you had, you had that option. You could romance whichever one you decided to romance. That would have been nice because, God, gee, I'm a bounty hunter. Who you romancing? Oh, I don't know. Mako. Or if it's the female, I don't even know what the female gets, but it's the same freaking companion no matter what. And I think that would have been great. I want more storyline. I've said it before, and we've both said it before. I want more storyline for my character. I want more, but more importantly, believe it or not, I would take more storyline with each of my companions before I even dealt with storyline for my character, because I really enjoyed going out with my companion. It was a lot of fun. I like getting the different looks to make my companion slightly different. Now, it would be nice if I could fucking name her different, because I love the name Mako, but everybody's got a Mako, so if I could name her Jules or something would be better. But you know what I mean? That would be nice.
Yeah. But I mean, there are definitely some situations where they could make alternative changes. Now, one of the things as an MMO player, or a longtime MMO player in both of our cases, is things that change our perspective. You can always add more ops. You can always add more levels. You can always add more gear. It's those side notes, like you were saying, the companion storylines. And you can't always reinvent the wheel, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you can add some really cool modifications to it to make it shine a little bit better. Yeah. Spinners. But, right now it looks like free-to-play's the win, and it looks like they're trying to put the polish on it that it needs to make sure that when it hits, it's not just something that people get into for a minute and then leave again. And for those of us who have been here for a while, it's a way for us to get a little bit more. Now, one of the things they said, you said, was that you're not being able to get in queue as often. And one hitch and I said it last week when we run the op together, was one of the hitches that we never notice is we don't always click the in progress, and that goes for PvP and PvE. Not everybody hits that. And I'd like to tell people, if you don't notice your queue popping as often, make sure that you went in and under your selections of instances and whatever, that you click on it, that you get the maximum out of it, and make sure that you are making sure to have your active ones displayed. That would be really nice. That way you'll see the queues pop a little bit more often. But there's more we could say, more we could do. But as it does normally tend, I want to get back to my game, and I'm excited to see Joveth push out that patch when he thinks it's ready, not when we think it's ready, because I want to make sure that we can still see quality coming from our friends at BioWare and our current BioWare leader Joveth. I will say again, hashtag SWTOR calendars in game.
That's right. Hashtag SWTOR calendars. Hashtag SWTOR. Hashtag calendars. Whichever.
I'm doing hashtag SWTOR calendars. I want it all
one word. Got it.
And that way we can tweet that to our buddy. It tends to be the thing that I bitch about each week that he suddenly throws out a note on. So hashtag SWTOR calendars is what we're looking at this week, guys. And I want to thank you again for all of your support. We love you guys. 100 people watching us, 100 people subscribing to us on YouTube, which is, a great number to hit. Look forward to hitting 1,000. As far as our downloads go, another 600, so another great week. Lanyard's actually going to get to see some rewards of his hard-earned effort with getting our videos up there with, almost 200 hits per our new videos. You guys have really killed it with one of my videos for 1,500. I wish EA wouldn't have flagged it, but nonetheless, 1,500 videos nonetheless. 1,500 views on that one nonetheless. Man, keep the love coming. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, and we'll see you in the pit.
Thank you again for joining us here on Sith Talk. Lanyard and Dadakar look forward to talking with you next week. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Sith Talk, or stop by our Facebook page at facebook.com/Sith Talk. And of course, our Gmail is sithtalk@gmail.com. This music brought to you by freeplay.com. And remember, peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me.